Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to everyone who's coming on. Welcome to all of my replay viewers. Thanks so much for showing up. I know I don't normally come on Sundays, but I had something on my mind that I really wanted to share with you guys, and I didn't want to wait until tomorrow. So thanks for joining. I'm going to flip my camera around so that I can talk to you guys better. Hello. Just give me a second to get in place here. How are you guys? Okay, so I know I don't normally come on Saturdays, but I had some things that I wanted to kind of talk about, and it was something we talked about in Sunday school this morning. So thank you guys for joining me. If you saw at the start, I am having some tea, so I hope that if you're having tea or coffee or whatever you're going to have today, that you'll just pull it up and sit with me and let's have a little chat. So there's this phrase that a lot of people say. And the phrase is, I'm too busy, right? I'm too busy. I'm going to move my camera around because I don't really know the right angle. Now that my tripod thing broke, I'm kind of struggling with this. Okay, so now I can actually look at the camera better. Okay, so guys, we have this phrase in our culture, and we say it all the time. I'm too busy. I have too much to do. There's too much going on. I'm too busy. And we were talking about that in Sunday school this morning. And what the lesson pointed out is that there are people who often will say, I'm too busy, and we kind of just wear it as this badge of honor in our society. We say it as though it's something to be proud of. And let me tell you something, guys. I'm not too busy. Hi, from Canada. I'm not too busy. And I will not be afraid to say that. There are some times when I get busy. There are some times when a lot is going on, but in general, I'm not too busy. And I've worked very, very hard at making my life a way that I'm not that busy. So when we start taking on so many things and doing so many things, we just have to get rid of some stuff. I mean, there's only so much time in the day. And I know that there are some times when I feel tired. Okay, right now it's the allergy season, so I'm feeling pretty bleh. And I'm not sleeping as I'm just waking up not feeling well because of allergies. I'm not waking up exhausted because my life is too busy though. And that's the distinction I want to make. Because when you're too busy, you get exhausted, you get tired, you're grumpy, you yell at everyone around you, you know what I mean? And being too busy is a problem. Another problem with being too busy is that it keeps you from doing the things that are important because you're just so busy. I don't even know what people are busy with. I hear this all the time. I'm just too busy. I'm too busy. So much is going on. And I have no doubt that there isn't a lot going on and that they are busy. But some of it, guys, you don't have to be that busy. You can make some decisions. Now, am I saying that there isn't going to be a season in your life that gets to be busy? I'm not saying that, okay? I have 3 boys, and I remember there being time when they were younger, and I felt like all I did all day was just run around and change diapers and try to clean up after them and stuff. And my husband, he was in seminary. And he was in seminary for like 4.5 years. And he worked 2 different jobs. And I was running around taking care of the kids. And I felt like that was kind of a busier season of our life. It was very hard for me because I wanted to make sure that he had time with his children. So I took our kids everywhere and did everything with them. So every time I went to the grocery store, I hauled 2 kids with me. And everywhere, everything we had to go do, I took them. So I did feel like that was kind of exhausting to me. But that was the kind of busy that it just had to happen. It was a period of time in our life. We wouldn't have ever wanted to stay there, though. Sometimes I think people say they're busy because it's just an excuse. They don't really want to go out with a friend, or maybe they don't really want to get together with someone, and they just say, well, I'm just too busy for that. Can I just go ahead and raise my hand and say, I've been there? In general, I'm not that busy. I have plenty going on. I don't think that. But in general, if somebody called me up and needed something from me, I can totally go do it for them. Not always. Too many of those times like that in a week is going to put me in a bind. But, okay, so today, not a big deal. But sometimes I give excuses. I'm just too busy. Why don't you go do this thing or that thing? I'm too busy. Really, what I need to be saying is, I'm not too busy, I just don't want to do that. That's not what my priority is. It's a lot easier for us in our culture to say, I'm too busy, than to say, no, that's not what I need to put my time towards right now. You know what I mean? So instead of always saying, I'm too busy, let's learn to say, I'm not too busy. And if you can't say that, let's make some changes in our lives, right? Let's figure out, okay, what on our list can we get rid of? Okay, for example, this weekend, we kind of had a busy weekend. I didn't expect it to be as busy as it was, but we let our middle child be a part of the Awana games. And so he's only had to have 5 practices for the Awana games, and then he had his thing yesterday morning. So that was already scheduled. Well, then we got an invite to a birthday party last night, and we were like, oh, we really want to take our kids to this party. And then we got invited to a play on this past Friday night. So it was going to be 3 things in one weekend. That's very unusual for us. So we went to the play on Friday night. We went to this thing Saturday morning to let our son play the games. And then we went to the party last night. Now, we had a couple of hour gap in between the 2 things, and we made our kids lay down and take naps and that kind of thing to help them refresh. But I was feeling pretty miserable yesterday. And here's what I thought. This can't happen all the time. It's okay that it happened this weekend. We really wanted to be a part of these things. We could have said no to any one of those things. We didn't have to tell our child he could play in those games, you know, a couple of weeks ago when he was asking. We didn't have to say yes to the party. We didn't have to say yes to the play. We chose to say yes to those things. We chose to do these things. We weren't forced into it, and nobody made us. That was our decision, knowing that we were going to have these other things. So, of course, we made those decisions to be busy, and yeah, we dealt with a little bit of being tired. But it reminded me that in our society, in our culture, we feel like we're supposed to always be doing all of these things. And we feel like we should let our kids do all of these things too. And I'm kind of having to sit back and really think through some things now that my boys are getting older. Up until this year, we've had very little money to let them go play ball or let them be a part of programs or things like that. And we still couldn't really afford to put them into some of these things that are more expensive. Like, they couldn't do dance. They couldn't do karate. Those things are a little bit more than we could afford. But it started making me realize, okay, well, what if we did want to let them play baseball this year? That means I have to be committed to it time-wise. I have to take them to the ball fields. I have to take them to practices. I have to take them to games. I've got, how many kids? 3 kids, 3 ball schedules. Man, that's getting pretty hairy now, right? Why do we feel that we have to put our kids in all kinds of things? I don't know. Why do we feel like we have to say yes to all sorts of things? I don't know the answer to that either. But I do know this. We should stop feeling that pressure, guys. Stop feeling that pressure. If you're like, but I want the best for my kids. I want them to have all this stuff. Let me tell you something. I've seen a lot of children that are so tired. They're so tired because their parents are like, well, you've got to go to school all day, and I want to put you in ball, so now you got to go to ball practice every night, and don't forget you got to do your homework. And these kids are exhausted. If, like this past weekend, my kids were so tired, even though they had a nap yesterday afternoon, they're napping right now, my kids are exhausted. I have a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 5-year-old, or almost 5. So, if they had to go to school all day, and ball practices every other night or something like that, they would be so tired. And so would my husband and I. And it would make it more difficult for us to spend time together as a family. So guys, in our lives, let's really evaluate the things that are the most important. And I don't know where you are. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're dealing with as far as your time schedule. But let's start adopting the mindset that we are not too busy. Let's stop using those words. If you're saying, I am too busy because there is really too much going on, let's reconcile that, right? Let's move toward getting away from that. If you're in just a really busy season of life, don't stay there. Start moving away from that, whatever that looks like for you. It might just mean that, you know, certain responsibilities around your house have to let go a little bit. Maybe your house isn't going to look perfect every day. Maybe you're going to have to let the laundry get behind. Maybe you're going to have to eat out a little bit more. Or maybe you're just going to have to eat really simple meals like, okay, we're just eating soup and sandwiches again. You know what I mean? It's okay. You don't have to do things perfectly for your kids or your family to really enjoy their time together. And maybe it's going to look like saying no to things. Maybe it's going to look like saying no to your child when they ask you to be a part of multiple things in a year. If you have younger kids and you're dragging them all around to the ball fields, let me tell you something, it is miserable. It really is. And I know that a lot of parents feel the guilt to tell their kids no about things, but it's okay. I grew up, when I was growing up, I got to play, I didn't get to start playing any kind of softball or anything until I was a teenager, and I could take myself to the fields. And I kind of always wondered why my mom didn't put us in anything before that. And then I realized that my mom just couldn't do it. She had 5 children, and if she had to run us all around to different things, she would have lost her mind. She already had to run a fair number of my brothers and myself around at different periods of time. But my mom knew what she needed to do so that she didn't kill herself. And there's only so much time in the day. So today I encourage you guys to really look through what it is that you have to accomplish and ask yourself, are all of these things actually important? And if they're not, let me get rid of some of them so that I'm not too busy. So that when a friend calls me up and they are hurting and they are in need, I have the time to help them. So that when my child comes and they're like, Mommy, Daddy, I want to spend time with you, we don't go, well, we're just too busy for that. When our kids want to read books with us or something, let's not be too busy for them. Let's not be too busy to help out in our communities and volunteer and get to know other people and build relationships. So guys, I'm encouraging you guys to adopt that phrase, I am not too busy. And I know it's going to be a challenge, and I know it's going to be a different mindset, but I am here to say loud and proud, I'm not too busy. And when I start seeing things getting way too busy, we just have to clear our schedules in some other way. All of life is a trade-off, and when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Don't let that no be to your family. Don't let that no be to other people. Let's put relationships above housework. Let's put relationships above busyness, above the other things. They're just extras. Everything we do in our lives, let's use those as vehicles to help us grow deeper in relationship with other people. So that's what was on my mind today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to see what I've been blogging about, go to lovehopeadventure.com. And again, my name is Keely. I may have forgotten to introduce myself at the start, but thanks for sticking on with me. And if you'd like to see what I've been thinking of, go to lovehopeadventure.com. And I expect to be on tomorrow around my normal time between 11 and 12. You guys have a great day.